Hey, what's up, guys? It's Marsman here, and I am back after, oh god, probably like 8 months or so. Another kind of spoiler type commentary vlog about The Walking Dead. So the mid-season finale just finished. I figured it would be a good idea to kind of talk about the season thus far, talk about the things that have happened, maybe give a little bit of an idea of how things are going to happen from now, just through speculation and whatnot. Please remember that these are my opinions and thoughts on the matter, not necessarily anything that I've researched or anything. You know, it's just from what I feel after watching these 8 episodes. So if I start any discussion that you would like to continue, please leave that in the comment. There will be spoilers here, so if you've not listened to the warning and you've watched thus far, then please stray away right now, because there's some heavy stuff that happened, and if you're interested in the show, then you shouldn't watch this. Okay, so what can I say about the season? So we had a kind of traitor in the midst of the group, of Rick's group. We saw the governor again. People were getting sick, and the governor attacked the prison. Those are probably the big events. Now let me break it down into kind of parts. So someone was feeding rats to zombies, and that caused like a big thing. The zombies broke down one of the prison gates, and that wasn't really addressed, so that's still an open issue. So the traitor thing, someone is screwing with the group, possibly, but we don't know who. That has not been resolved. Now the governor, which was interesting, he made his appearance in episode 5. At the very end, we saw that he was there. Now, I was a little displeased by episode 6 because it was an episode dedicated entirely to the governor. And I remember when they did that back in season 3, where it was an episode dedicated completely to kind of Andrea and the governor and the things that were happening there in Woodbury. And I understand that. But the reason I was displeased this season with that idea was the fact that I felt the governor kind of had his storyline, and I didn't want to see the return of the governor. I felt that season 3 was a pretty good end to his story, and I would have liked to see a couple seasons without him, and then maybe season 5 or 6, if they go that long, bring him back when people don't expect it. I found it was really quick to bring him back when people kind of already, just finished the 3rd season maybe and started watching the 4th season, and people were fresh with the governor on their minds, and they knew he was still out there. And to bring him back so quickly, I was a little displeased. Now bear with me for a moment. So they dedicated a whole episode to him, and it was kind of seeing his big transformation. And I think this happened before season 3, before we saw him in Woodbury. But that's just kind of my speculation on the idea. But the governor lost all hope. He kind of shut down. And then he went on this more or less binge of not taking care of himself, just barely surviving out there in the wild. He grew this big bushy beard, kind of like I am doing at the moment. And it really looked like he was going to lose it one day, right? He would just not be strong enough. He just barely avoided a zombie, and then he saw kind of the face of his daughter in the window, and kind of that click of hope. He made it in the building, and he found, I guess, what we'll call his family. I found that was kind of cool because it seemed like the governor was really turning a new leaf. He seemed to be caring about these people, but you have to remember he did the same thing with Andrea. So at the same time, though I was kind of rooting on for this good guy governor, I knew at the back of my mind that this Andrea thing had happened, and he had done it before, where he kind of loved Andrea and had this relationship with her, and then it all turned sour and turned really quickly by her just kind of trying to make the right decisions and him not agreeing with that. So he kind of, that fuse is really short, and that's what happens with the governor. Now, it was really creepy because it felt like he found a replacement for Penny in Megan, the young girl, and at times I was like, yes, this is creepy. He's replacing Penny, but at other times you see him like in the episode tonight. That he kind of hugged her, and it looked like a real love, like a kind of real time had gone by, and he really kind of loved this girl. He played chess with her and taught her how to do that and different things. So it was interesting. And then the thing is, after seeing that episode, we saw another episode completely dedicated to the governor, and then that really lost me. I was like, all right, I mean, enough's enough to dedicate 2 episodes to this, and then it's going to be like this big governor story arc, and I'm just seeing the same things. But then he went from kind of good guy governor to psychotic, controlling governor, and that kind of piqued my interest. I will say, he killed Martinez, which was, I mean, more or less his best friend, enforcer. So we see that he really has no loyalties apart from kind of the women he loves, and he like really he's really codependent in a lot of ways. Anyways, so episode 7 was kind of that little thing going on, and then at the beginning of the last episode, we saw the governor give his big speech and his motivation, like we've seen him do many times to try to influence people, and he would be a very, very good politician, and I guess that's why he's called the governor, because his speech is always, we are in trouble, we are going to die, and he uses this to his advantage, knowing people's weak spots, and survival is out there and we can take it. He said he wouldn't do it violently at all, and they would just be able to get the prison. So with the kidnap or the capture of Herschel and Michonne, he was able to go to the prison, and I guess we'll say he talked things out with Rick, though I think Rick did more of the talking, and that I want to talk about that in a second. But so there was this weird moment where the governor got there with a tank. Of course, it's like, yeah, I want peace, but I'm bringing a tank and I'm shooting your building. So that was a little weird. And armed to the teeth, of course. And there was this like shouting match between Rick and the governor, but they were like really far away, and they weren't really shouting. They were just talking a little bit louder than I am, and they could completely and perfectly hear each other. And I found that a little weird because they were so far away. And another thing I'll mention, it's like, do they have 20/20 vision in the zombie apocalypse? Is that like some part of the zombie disease where you have like supersonic hearing and sight? Because if that's the case, then I don't mind being infected if that when I die I just change. That's completely fine if I can see right, because I'm very dependent of these, and it seems like nobody in the zombie apocalypse ever needs glasses or hearing aids or anything. They're completely fine. That's just like a side note, completely irrelevant to the show, but something to think about anyways while you're watching the show, and it drives me nuts, so maybe it'll drive you guys nuts from now on as well. So yeah, the governor took out Herschel and Michonne, and he was like, if you want peace, if you whatever, you guys don't want to die, just leave peacefully, and we'll take the prison. And there was a good moment there, a really good moment, where Herschel looked at Rick, and then Rick started talking, and he gave the speech about how there is redemption amongst all the bad things you do, and that we can coincide and live in the same habitat, and not kind of, it'll be tough, but we don't have to be at each other's throat all the time. And I think that was really Rick being Rick, what we know him to be, what we've seen him to be in the past, and he kind of went on a leave, went to Cuckoo Town on a couple episodes, and then came back slowly and gradually. But it seemed like Rick was finally the Rick that we kind of knew and loved, and I really loved the speech, and and it's so unfortunate, but we saw for a moment there, the look that Herschel gave him after and during the speech was one of yes, you're right. I'm happy you finally see it my way. I accept what you're saying, but I also accept my faith. And we knew that Herschel's fate was already determined when the governor pulled the knife or the sword, the katana on him. But I knew it before that. You could see it in Herschel's face that he was okay with whatever happened in that situation. And I mean, I think everyone knew that from Herschel, that he understood that no matter how it ends, like, he's okay with it ending when the time comes. And unfortunately, through that speech of "you will always redeem yourself," well, the governor chopped half of Herschel's head off, and it looked like Herschel was going to survive for a moment there when he was crawling on the ground, but the governor just went ham on it, and he did not accept Rick's proposal for everyone to move in together, and he also, which was the big thing, he did not accept that there was redemption in your actions. It seemed like he called Rick a liar for having said that you do come back from, the bad things you've done. So that was interesting, because it seemed like the governor did believe that himself at some points when he kind of adopted a new family. It seemed like the governor was, yes, there is coming back from this, but at the same time we realized that he's the same psycho son of a bitch that we've always known him to be. He is just very hot-headed, and he has a good way of hiding it. And the kind of the attitude of the governor is surprising. And anyways, so Michonne got up, got her hands loose. Rick tackled the governor. The governor started pounding Rick's face in. Even, on his one can of tuna a day, he is stronger than Rick. But I think a big reason of that being is kind of Rick has this search for peace in him, that he wants to resolve conflict without anybody getting hurt now. I think he's always wanted that, but I think it's been more and more important, especially since, Carl killed his mother, and he killed that boy kind of in cold blood. So I think Rick is more of a, I don't know, just I'm going for peace, not war, and I'm going to avoid it at all costs, even if that means living with my worst enemy, as he had mentioned. So I think he is definitely held back from some of that. So the governor beats Rick to just about the death of Rick. I thought for a minute Rick might have been out of the show. Like, I know the show is kind of about Rick, but more and more we see it being less about him and really kind of equally about everyone. So for a minute there, I thought Rick might have died, or would have been pretty much choked unconscious and then maybe brought back to life in the next episode or something like that. I didn't know it was going to happen. That would have been a great cliffhanger. But instead, Michonne got her katana and just right through the governor's chest, basically from the back to the chest, and it was really interesting. She didn't finish him off. She didn't go for that killing blow, so it was kind of either a suffer you bastard or I'm better than you. So I thought that was really interesting. It was really cool. Now, at the same time that stuff was happening, everyone was kind of getting scattered. The bus went off with Glenn and a bunch of the people from Woodbury. The kids and Tyrese are kind of in a group. Daryl was doing his own thing, kind of fighting off everyone. Maggie was looking for Beth and this chaos. Rick is now with Carl, which Michonne was there. I don't know where she went. And it's this separation happened, but they did have a contingency plan. Take the bus, leave, and we don't know the rest of the plan, but it seems like they're going to meet up somewhere. So possibly we'll see something we've already seen before, or maybe it will be completely something new that they had found, just on one day of kind of going out to get supplies, and they knew if ever the prison doesn't work out, we go here. So it seems like everyone knew the plan. I think that's going to make for some really interesting things. Now, I saw a little bit of what will happen the next half of the season. I'm not going to talk about that in case you guys didn't see that. But there are a few things that pique my curiosity. And if you want to talk about it at all, you guys can leave it in the comments, because I like discussing shows. I did this for Breaking Bad, and I felt it was a good idea to do it for Walking Dead, and I'll do it at the Walking Dead finale as well, if you guys are interested in that. If I missed anything, just watch the show. That's your best source of information. There are kind of the Wikipedia pages and the episode recaps and stuff like that. The Talking Dead is a very informative show as well. I love what Chris Hardwick does with that show. It's really cool. It's really interesting, and you get some different input and different opinions on the show that you necessarily maybe wouldn't think of if you were just on your own or whatnot. So I think that's a cool way of getting new information and new ways of thinking about the show, because much like books, much like our imagination, shows are not necessarily meant to be taken the way they are seen or perceived. You have to realize that you can interpret something multiple ways, and of course, if the author tells you no, this is the way you have to take it, then that's different. But just in general, you can take a work of art, which whether it be kind of a painting, drawing, if it's a video game or movie, TV show, book, anything, you are able to take it and interpret it the way you want, and then you can share that with the world as kind of your view on things. And I don't really, like I said, I don't really think anybody's view of it is wrong. So if you guys want to talk about it in the comments, maybe enlighten each other and share different things, different ideas we had, maybe things that will happen. It'd be really interesting to have that conversation. I think what's going to happen is, I'm hoping that the group will not get back together by the end of the season. I'd like to see them kind of struggle on their own a little bit. I think that would be really interesting, and that would, I guess, prepare us possibly for there has been a kind of Walking Dead spin-off type show announced, where it seems like it would be more of an episodic thing where we get to see different locations and different groups of people surviving. So I'm wondering if we get kind of a sense of that, maybe that would prepare us for that. Anyways, just something to speculate and think about. So if you guys enjoy the commentary, please remember to leave a like, a thumbs up, or a comment, or even disliking and comment if you didn't like the commentary. But again, like I said, everything in here has been my opinion and speculation, so don't hate me for thinking. Come on. Yeah, so I guess I'll see you guys next finale, season 4 finale. And if you liked this and you want to see more of these kind of vlogs, I talk about different shows here and there, so stay tuned and make sure to subscribe. But for now, I will catch you next time, and February 9th is the date where it starts off again. So if you guys didn't catch it, February 9th, make sure Sunday night to watch The Walking Dead. Thanks for watching. Bye.